good to see you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Likewise.
You look good.
I've been. Thank you. As you do. I was not going to cast aspersions on your previous. I was about to say clinging to, that wonderful youth, I suppose.
I have a lot of hair.
No,
it grows back. It grows back. I just shaved it, and it grows back.
Mate, it's taken years off your wife.
I mean,
you look very youthful, whereas and the juxtaposition, if you like, was that what I was alluding to. I was trying to be sensitive about it.
Don't bother being sensitive at this point.
No, really. I've decided it's a new year. I'm going to change some of my ways, and I'm going to be more sensitive to other people's feelings, which is something that I don't really. The obsession with being sensitive and inclusive and all that, sort of.
Well, you should be that to everybody else, but to me, you don't have to be.
Well, no, I'm okay with that. That's what friends are for. But the end of the band. When I say the end of the band, it's not going to be completely the end of the band, but that's not something I really want to talk about because I don't know what shape that's going to take. But I said to Mick the other day when we were, I went down to Mick's place, the slide player, and we were doing some songwriting, and I said something to him about some of his tunes, and I said we'll save them for next year. And he sort of looked at me and sort of smiled. And I knew the smile was one of fab, thanks, that's great, because I hadn't sort of shared that kind of prophecy, if you like, or plan in my, but I said to him, I said, we'll keep writing songs. So I'm very much enjoying what we're coming up with for the next Tats album. And I said, well, so we'll keep writing and we'll see what we produce. And I said, if we produce a bunch of songs that really should be Rose Tattoo songs, so I said, well, we'll just go ahead and record them, and just put them out. When you say put them out, it's upload or whatever happens these days. So we'll make them available. And if something miraculous happens where the people start to really I don't know, do you buy music these days? Like you sell CDs still.
CDs, I buy records, but at this point for me, I guess because of where I'm at now, the music I get sent to me early releases at this point. So I don't as much now, but I am a consumer of physical media myself. Is the whole world like that? Yeah. I think in rock and roll maybe more. Pop music, no. People like to hold stuff in their hands. You know what I mean? They like to have the records or the CDs.
Yeah, and that's the point. I mean, someone said to me the other day, because I was in that. We have, we call them the Salvos, the Salvation Army, thrift shops or whatever. Yeah. I don't know what you call them over there, but they, $2 shops, thrift shops, and I was in there, and because I always go there looking for books, and one of my favorite writers, orators is Oscar Wilde.
Yep.
But I found this. This is
oh wow!
It's Rubens, and the Italian Renaissance, and it's in chapters. So like this chapter is mythological paintings. It was $2. and it's just reproductions of some of the most famous paintings in the world, and really beautifully presented, and the story that accompanies that. One I got, I was just looking for it, I can't find it. One I got like a year ago, or no, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I remember going in there, and it was $10, and it's hardbound, and it's bigger than this book in size, and it's the complete works of Vincent van Gogh.
Oh wow!
But it's in a hard cover, so it was $10.
I know you're talking about. My wife has a lot of those books too, because she's an artist and designer. So we got a lot of those heavy, hard Monet, all the books downstairs.
Yeah. Well, you see, there was a
coffee table books, they call them, right?
Yeah, but there was a series put out years ago by Reader's Digest, and I've got 3 or 4 of them that they were on the ancient sculptors, and there's one in there. I've got a book on sculpturing or sculptures, and when you look at the detail of the paintings or of the sculptures, is that you kind of realize, like there's one, I was talking about this just the other day. There's one in there that I was just flicking through it in the later stages of last year, and because I was every now and again I vacuum and dust, and because dust gets on the and anyway, I pulled it out. I thought, oh yeah, I'll flip through it, and I went through it, and it was coming up to Christmas, so I was looking at the Madonna and the depictions of Christ, etc. And I remember it came to this one, and it's a famous sculpture, and this person has got a net over them, like a fishing net type.
Right.
So when you sit and think about that, about the fact that would have to be the first thing that was carved, would be the net.
Okay.
Right. So it's all in one piece. Yeah. It's draped over them. And if I could find it again, the book's in there somewhere. But yeah, and I sat there and I looked at this again, going back to a thread that I lost earlier on in the conversation about looking at things in a different way and starting to appreciate things. And that's what happens when you get old, which I am getting. I've just realized I'm old or getting that way, not in here,
right,
but in, the other thing, but
just at the doctor's office.
And so I'm looking at this painting, and it's a full page sculpture, and this person has got a net draped over them. And I thought the first time it occurred to me about perception, Sean, how we perceive things. Like the first, I remember, I think it was the book of Michelangelo, or I'm pretty sure, but one of them said, when asked about how do you produce these, because even when they were produced, they were things of wonder, because people couldn't believe how you could reproduce in marble a person so lifelike. The fact that they were just completely a marble color is what, because in other respects they look like, and they say there's a famous someone famously said that they look like real people asleep in stone, which is a way of describing how realistic these sculptors were able to reproduce people in a stone form, well, marbles, which is a stone. So I'm sitting there looking at this, and it dawned on me, I'd looked at a picture of that sculpture like a dozen, if not 28, 50 times before. How many ever times? I'd never really thought about the layers, because there's one part where there's a hand and the net's draped over the hand, but he would have had to have carved the net first.
Right.
and then went through the net and carved the rest. How he did that, because when you look through the net, I would absolutely love to go and see this thing in its physical reality, right? Like to stand in front of this sculpture.
Now I'm gonna have to look it up after now.
Yeah. So anyway, the point that I'm making is that for the first time, and it's like rereading a book, like 10 years after and having read it like 2 or 3 books. There's a handful of books that I've read 2, 3, sometimes 4 times over the 10 years between each reading.
Right.
And I always get something new out of the most recent reading of it. I think, oh yeah, because but that's what it's about. It's about perception. It's about how you actually look at something, every aspect of your life, with different eyes.
And now when somebody gets mad, someone does something, I'm like, how can that person do that? How can they do that? I'm thinking, I don't know, because I couldn't do that because I'm not them. But in their world, people think of things differently because they think 100% differently. You think of things differently. I see things differently. And so now, every time I go and make a decision, I start thinking about where's someone else coming from in this climate, in this world. You know what I mean? The experience, even if I don't agree with you, what shaped that person? You can't attack that person. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, we're all so different, but we all have these things that shaped us. And I don't understand certain things, but that's the meaning. You know what I mean? So I always try different perception. I've been trying, especially the past couple of years, it's been really important to keep me from arguing with everybody or fighting in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's I agree with you. I think it's a great thing to do. It's because all of us. It's the world of taking pictures of yourselves, right? People are stars on shows now, right? That's what people are.
Well, see what it proves, and of course what it manifests is that we are always evolving. We are always, because if we see something differently, the same thing that we've looked at, say 10 times or 1,000 times before, whatever, if on one occasion we look at that thing and see it differently, it means that we've changed. It hasn't.
Correct.
It's like this sculpture has always been exactly the same as when it was created. I have changed. Like that was, right. I mean, that's like you said, you try to do that simultaneously, from what I gathered.
I try to stop in a moment. If I'm overwhelmed by something I don't understand, I'm frustrated, I stop and think, where are they coming from? At least slow me down to be like, I don't know what they're thinking, but I also don't know what they're thinking. I couldn't do that because I'm not them. I try, at 55, I'm hopefully myself evolving. You know what I mean? Because like I say, my joke is now everyone's a star of their own TV show, their own world. My feeling is, I'm like a walk-on guest on my own world. I'm not the star of anything. I'm just a walk-on. Today's actor will be played by Sean Ratchis. Like I'm just literally the walk-on of somebody else's life. I'm not actually a star of my own. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Well, does it go back to that?
It allows more sensitivity to people, and not in a political way, just in a good human being way.
Yeah. So does it go back to talking about the media? It goes back to something that was on Facepart or whatever the other day about, all world leaders are just actors. They're working from a script. They are being directed, as in a director making a film. And another
bad movie. It's a bad movie. Then.
Well, it's just that movie, right? So, and if that's true, and I do believe it is true, and you're sort of alluding to that in a sense. Another book that I got from, which is a big book, is the complete works of Shakespeare, and it's on beautiful paper. It's quite thin paper, a lot thin compared to sort of like, pardon me, the gauge of paper that you put in your printer.
Different stock. Yeah.
So it's beautifully presented, and it's got, wonderful, where they start the first letter of each page is quite ornate. It's a bit like that. So
yeah.
So it's a bit like that, and it sort of alludes to the period, if you like, like but it's very readable, obviously. But all the world's a stage, and we are but actors. And that when you sort of look, past the obvious, and see, that's another body of work that in recent years, I haven't touched that book for years. I bought it because of its physical beauty. And I opened it up and I read parts, and I went to Macbeth, or I went to this, or went to that, and started reading parts of it. But it's it's a huge volume of work. And some of it's kind of like reading the Bible or any great literary work, but there's so much in there. It's like, and so I thought, no, I'll Google it. So I Googled Shakespeare, and all of a sudden, what popped up on FaceFart or on the device was all these great actors and actresses, English.
Yeah.
And they were all, they learnt, because it was just part of the learning process to be an actor, to do live theatre, to do live plays. And of course, they all, like Laurence Olivier is there. They're all in black and white, most of them. Judi Dench, any great English actor that you can think of. Peter O'Toole, the list is Richard Burton. Oh God, some of the stuff that he on the like, it's just film clips of them doing scenes out of Shakespeare, and the rhythm and the enunciation,
it's a cadence too, right?
Yeah, but they are understanding not just what he wrote, but how he wrote it. Like the punctuation is obviously very, very old school, but they are interpreting what they are getting from this wonderful imagery that Shakespeare was able to create, with words. It's extraordinary. And again, like I think to myself, like, it'll take years to read that. Like, can I be fucking bothered? And I think to myself, well, I've got time on my hands, and yes, I can, or I will be bothered to go back and read. I'm not saying I'll read the whole thing, but I just, like I said, I just sort of flipped that open, and I just started reading, and it was just like, wow. I mean, just extraordinary stuff. But it's not like going back to the example of the sculptor or a photograph. I've only read Shakespeare like half a dozen times in my whole life, right? So
yeah, I did. Me too. Only in college, I think.
Yeah, and then only like a play.
Or, exactly.
Like enough of a story to go like, oh my God, because it's like it's hard work. I mean, when you say hard work, I suppose it's anything that's worth having doesn't come easy.
Yeah, but I mean, reading. I don't know about you. Like I got, well, I can't see it now. Frank Zappa book to get through.
Yeah.
I've got Howard People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. It is, I don't know, 700 pages. It's small print. It's going to take a little while.
Great power. And this will come in our lifetime, Sean. We'll see this, and we'll see our kids suffer when they've already done it in Australia since we went wind and solar, dependent almost entirely. They've had what they call outages. where it's become too hot. Everyone puts on their air conditioner.
Okay, yeah, like a brownout.
Is that what you call it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we do. I mean, yeah, a brownout.
Yeah. So what they do is that they can turn that. See, this happens in Victoria because it doesn't happen up here yet in New South Wales because we haven't got that far yet. But down in Victoria, they cut off the amount of power in the grid that went to that section. Who do you think it affected the most?
Probably the people that don't have the money.
Low income people.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about this because I was saying it's like Barter Town. It's like Tina Turner's just cutting down that power. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Turn on Power Town. You and Master Blaster got to get those guys out there.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when you said that. I laughed and laughed. I thought,
it's so funny. So it's actually, that's what, it's ruined things for me. I love those movies back then, but now I see movies like that nowadays. I'm like, it just hits home too much. It's too much.
See, what we didn't realize, Sean, when we were watching or making, I was in that movie, but as you know, good movie. So we didn't realize at the time that we were the prophetic component of it, like that. I now believe that George, because I know George well, and I know that he's brilliant enough to have built that into the movie because he saw that coming. I think that's the kind of intellect that I attribute to George Miller. He's a brilliant bloke. But see, we were making a fun adventure movie. We didn't realize we were making
a social commentary was kind of split in there.
A horror story. It was a horror story. That's like, it was kind of like, I can't understand. Actually, I've said this to you before. I even suggested it to George. I said, you should make the ultimate 1984 movie. But there's only been one movie that I've ever seen that was made.
No. Have you? So you've seen it? I know about it. And it keeps popping up in my feed on Netflix. I'm like, I don't think I can watch it. It's just too real right now.
It's dark.
I know, but like right now, what's going on, especially in my country right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are seeing, but like, I'm like, I don't think I can watch 1984 right now. It's just too close.
Do you know someone? I saw someone, and they do this thing on a podcasty thing on film, predominantly film, and they were talking a lot about a handful of movies that were way out of their time, that were extremely controversial, and one was Clockwork Orange, and this person was saying that they said if all the footage that was shot had been included when it was first shown with, there was obviously scenes we didn't need, but there was a lot of content, political, because it was political. Do you remember at the end when they reprogram him?
Yep.
He's in this terrible situation when he's got eyelids are open.
His eyelids are open. Yep.
And they're making him watch all this film and stuff. So they're deprogramming him away from his violent nature, right? That's the premise of the film. But this person, there's two people talking, boffins, film boffins, and they were saying if the general public had seen the original cut with all this extra political stuff in it, they said entirely different film.
Really?
But when they sat down, they said, you know what? We got to cut half of this out because people aren't going to buy it. It's going to out of people, the ones that actually look at it and take it seriously. If you know what I'm saying?
It was so crazy on its own.
Well, the version we got to see was pretty scary, wasn't it?
Yeah, the home invasion. Yeah, for the time. Yeah, the home invasion was insane.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I'd like to see the whole version though. Now I'd like to see. Is it out? Is the whole thing edited out?
No, they were from the conversation that I remember watching. What they were saying was if the public would have been able to have seen, so the footage still exists somewhere because they've seen it. These people who are talking about the movie, they've seen that extra footage, and they said, like, it just changes the whole film. I mean, it's still
That's not
Clockwork
fair.
Orange.
That's a tease. I want to see it now. Like if people,
Well, so do I, but I don't know
see
where
how
to
great
find
something
it.
is, and then make it available for people. It's like it's like me saying I've got some of the best rock and roll stories ever, but I'm not going to tell you about them.
Yeah.
Just shut up. Don't be a jerk. Like you mean, like I have all these great stories. Like I'm not going. Like I can't tell you this.
I think what they were sort of probably alluding to was the fact that should you want to put yourself to task, you could probably find an old version that hadn't been. And the other thing too was that it was too long in duration.
Right. Yeah. No one's going to want that.
Yeah. So because all this extra footage that they cut out, and you know, there's lots of see the same thing they were talking about Soylent Green. They were talking about these Blade Runner and these classic
dystopian
dark, yes,
apocalyptic world.
They were even talking about that. Is it 12 Monkeys or something? Bruce Willis was in it.
Yeah, Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt, and it was always the backwards story.
Chick with orange hair.
I don't know what it was, but he actually wore a wig in part of it because you didn't understand why something happened to the end. There's a flashback of what happened because was it like a drug or something? Or he had a shot, so something. It goes to the airport. I remember part of it. That was a good movie. I remember watching that being like, oh my God.
I've got it somewhere. And I thought, I didn't, when I first saw that movie, it was like just a Bruce Willis movie. And I love Bruce Willis because he was the action hero of the moment. Yeah. And, but yeah, and she's having a conversation with the character.
Yeah.
That he plays. And I was like, I missed that entirely because it was quite deep.
Well, because once again, we were looking at things differently back then.
Bingo.
You're reevaluating it again.
We're back where we started, which is probably where we should be.
Right. I mean, the problem with me is if I can remember what I thought before, I forget everything. So when I read it, it's like reading it for the first time. You know what I mean? It's like 50 First Dates with me. Every day is a brand new day. And I'm like, I'm going to reinvent the wheel every day. So I'm reading it. I'm like, this is great. My wife's like, you've already read it. That's why you know it. You've already watched this.
I think I really think that's true of a lot of people. It's like someone said to me a while ago. I said, look, I'm writing everything down these days because, there are some things that I should remember to do like tomorrow or the next day.
Right.
So the phone's invaluable because I'll put it in the phone, or I'll write, there's these little pads you buy, the little yellow things. Yeah. I write, and there's stickers all over the place, like reminders and stuff. And they said, oh yeah, that's old age. I said, well, yes, it is. But the other side of it is that I've never had a great immediate collective or recollective memory.
Yeah.
But I discovered something. I may have told you this. I discovered something when I was in therapy some years ago, dealing with my childhood and
right.
at the time the breakdown of my marriage, etc. And I was quoting things, right? And Michael, the therapist, he'd say, "What? Just repeat what you just said." And I'll repeat it. He goes, when did you first come across that? I said, I don't know, early 70s. I was reading a book called, I've told you about that book,
right.
Future Shock, that I'm just using that as an example.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And which reminds me, I'm looking for a copy of Future Shock because I want it. I've reread in recent 2 years a lot of books that I read 20 years ago.
And, books are hard to find in print.
I caught up with Michael Slamer, who was the guitar player and my co-songwriter and produced the album that I did there in 80 something, 88, 89.
Yeah, your big solo album.
The Bloods from Stone album.
Yeah.
And he was saying, he said, "Oh, you know that track we recorded, Dark Days?" He said, "I asked you about it." And he said, you said a whole lot of stuff. And I thought, Michael said to me, he said, "I understood about half of what you said, but the rest of it was just too far-fetched." And he said, "I knew you were a pretty crazy guy, you know, he's a reputation, but I spent 10 months with him writing and recording that album. So he got to know me pretty well." And he said, you're crazy, but you're not insane." He said, "But you're quite a rational being." He said, "But, you know, really, compared to, you know, his fellow Californians," he said, "You know, you're a crazy guy." And I said, "Well, yeah, I realize that. I've always been, you know, eccentric." But not mainstream, whatever, you know, why would you want to be? But he said, "You know, so now I understand what the song's about, you know."
I go back and listen to that now. I was listening to the album a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Yeah,
every now and then I pull it out. It's a good album.
I like it. That's a good song. There's only the terrible story. Michael rang me. Well, he messaged me first. This is last year. And we had a huge hit with a song off that album called "Bound for Glory."
Yep.
And they used it at sporting events and whole lots of stuff. And the co-writer with a friend of Slamer's, Michael Slamer's, was Duca. And he and his wife just recently was shot last year. A home invader, a thief, out on parole for about the 10th time, broke into their house. They came home unexpectedly. They saw him, so he killed them. Tom DeLuca was the co-writer of Bound for Glory, and we were talking about, you know, how dark that was.
And I have cameras and stuff. I already have cameras in my house, you know, because I don't trust people. I can do like Absolutely. Al Pacino, my big table of cocaine, and do my Al Pacino. Look at the cameras. All right, we should end on it. We'll end on a joyous note, because I know you got to go, and it's always pleasant.
I love that thing in the background. I love it, Scatterbrain. It's just fabulous.
Yep. Until next time. Fun talking to you. It's always been fun.
Yes. Yeah. Well, next time we talk, of course, we'll be talking a bit more about, you know, I'll be a bit more self-indulgent. We'll talk more about our final year, which has already started. And by then we will have done, if not all, but most of the tracks for the album. And yeah, so we might lighten it up for a bit. And
all right. When's a better time to
we can talk about the touring, we can talk about the album, we can talk about the trauma I'm going through, because like this is our last year as a band.
You know? Don't even say it, because that just makes you look crazy. Just be like, you know what? No more heavy touring. We're going to do some. And Slayer came back. They're doing festivals now. They took 4 years off. Big deal. Now they're doing festivals, and he's happy again. Smaller shows. You want. You know what I'm saying? It's just less big touring. I mean, you know, you don't need a stigma. You know what I mean? Leave it open for you. Don't close any doors. You love it.
I want to.
You gonna play golf?
No, play. I don't even like the game.
Crocodiles?
I don't like the game. I'm in a
play. You hit the ball and then you chase it. You hit it, you chase it. I'm like, stop hitting it.
I love Robin Williams' skit on. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite skits of all time. The way he describes it with this Scottish accent is just the best. You know, we won't end up. But I was just the other day I was thinking, there's got to be a book on Robin Williams somewhere. I'll Google it and I'll find it. I cried when he died. I just cried. I just thought, it helped me release, I think, more sadness than just the loss of
Well,
him.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
It gets it going, gets you.
yeah, yeah. And
I still get sad,
he,
you know. You see
mate,
a
he
clip of
said,
him online with the monkey, with the ape. Did you see that one recently? It's been good on Facebook a lot lately. We goes and he sees the monkey that's been depressed because her mate died and hadn't done anything for like 6 months. It was just one, he was like a talking monkey. I don't know. And he goes in there. It was the first time, and him and the monkey were hugging, and the monkey's hugging and laughing at him. Like he got the monkey laughing. He's care of a monkey, like an ape. Well, you know what I'm saying? A gorilla, probably.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Crazy, right? He just gets you all sad again. Because you're like, see how good he was? You know?
That's amazing.
He was just, there's so many stories of him. He went, when Sharon Osbourne had cancer, he went over her house. And he went and he sat in the bed with her and just had him, them laughing in tears for an afternoon, just being him, just to cheer him up, just being Robin. You know, so many good stories. You know,
Yeah, see,
all right.
yeah, and there's some quotes on the phone of scenes that he did in films and some of the things that the scripts that he was able to do, like because someone else wrote the script, but they got him to play the part. And some of the stuff that came across through him is when you look at it now, like the Dead Poets things, and other films like that, just have beautiful moments in that he was able to make those moments. So at the time, the reason that we were so deeply affected by them was because just the way and that's real connection, Sean.
I
That's
definitely
real
think
connection.
I think he recreated some of the words too. I think they let him go off the script because it worked. I think
Oh yeah,
he was.
yeah,
I don't think he was
yeah,
always locked to the script because it's just too natural. It's just too much for a
yeah.
script.
But it was the thing that I'm talking about was that even if he was reading the phone book, as some people say, um, um, he gave you he let you see his essence, his
His vulnerability.
the brilliant spark that was his genius. And yet I wasn't going to end it on this sad note, but what took him was his inability to protect himself from himself, in a sense. And that was just, I think that's why I cried. And because I just thought, like, it's just the saddest thing. Like, he made so many, he liberated through laughter millions of people. And yet at the end, it was the darkness
Depression.
that took him.
It was. The drug
Anyway.
didn't help though. I know.
No, but
The
we
drug pushed
drink
him
and
over the edge. No, I said the
we
medication. I think pushed the depression harder on him. I think.
we
I think it
we
made
we,
the.
we drink and take drugs to ease the pain, and not knowing
Yeah.
that it causes pain. It does. Anyway, thank God for our friendship, Sean.
I love it. I love it. This has been the best thing I've gotten out
Yeah,
of doing
mate.
this.
I value it highly.
I do too. That's what I'm saying. I don't even have topics anymore. I like really. I mean.
And I've got all his books, but I remember the first time I read that Thomas More, The Care of the Soul, and I just thought, I was in a bookshop, it was brand new, and I thought, yeah, and I'm talking about late 70s, early 80s. God, it's so badly marked by damp. Yeah, not sure when it first came out. There we go. first published in Great Britain in 1992. I didn't realise it was that recently. But a fascinating man, Thomas More, and it just basically says care of the soul helps you to look more deeply into emotional problems and to appreciate sacredness in ordinary things. Real friends, satisfying conversation, fulfilling work, and experiences that stay in the memory and touch the heart. So,
well said.
Alluding to what I just said about how much I value our friendship.
As I do too. I know you're a busy guy though. I know you have a lot going on.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, you are a man in demand though. You know,
these are the things. Not so much anymore. And that's another. We'll talk about. You know what I'm experiencing. Just the way we talked before about how the world's changing. Not just geopolitically, but, you know, social structures and the whole. So there's this great shift going on, which was always talked about prophetically.
Right.
Back since I started reading during the 70s liberation of the mind and the heart, and, you know, discovering.
But now you're getting the musical, what's it called? Leave the nest syndrome. The music version when the kids leave the nest, you know what I'm saying? Because everything's changing for you. You kind of, you know.
Well, it is, and it's the thing about it is my acceptance. And even though, you know, tragedy forced me, demanded of me that I accept that you have to accept it. There's nothing you can do to change it. So the mission, the job, if you like, is to accept it. Anyway, I'm trying to accept it with good grace, Sean. The fact that, you know, it's over for the tats, but not over. It's not over. But like I said to you last time, and this is an experience that awaits you. I'll be in a couple of years. I'll be 80. I will be able to. I'll be almost able to see the light that we are drawn towards when it's our time here is over. Because I look back now and I can't see where it started. I have photographs and I have memories, but I can't see it. It's gone. It's lost, and I'm traveling ever so quickly towards
the light.
Yeah, and I just have to accept the fact, like we all do, because it's, you know, the moment where
you're gonna get there, you're gonna follow the light, and you're gonna get to the end of it. And it's gonna be a shark and a crocodile holding a spotlight. And you're like, damn it. Sorry, I couldn't not go there.
No, that's fine. The next
dinosaur monster.
Yes, prehistoric dinosaur. That's it. That's what they
dinosaurs.
call them up in the territory. And that's what they call
sharks.
them.
Sharks are like dinosaurs.
They're dinosaurs.
They look like they're made out of old rubber tires, though, because they're always dinged up looking. Like a shark's body looks like an old rubber tire. You're not going to not think about that now, too.